Welcome back to another episode of Mastering English with Podcasts. I'm Razel.
And I'm Ricky. Today, we're diving into a very personal and motivational story, my struggle to learn English. In this episode, we'll hear from George, a 25-year-old man who faced tremendous challenges while learning English. We'll explore the obstacles he encountered and the strategies he used to overcome them.
This episode is not just about listening practice. We've added subtitles to everything we say, so you can read along as you listen. It's a double benefit, perfect for improving both your reading and listening skills.
So, without further ado, let's listen to and read George's inspiring journey to mastering English.
Hi, my name is George. I'm 25 years old, and I want to share my story about the challenges I faced while learning English. I grew up in a small town where the medium of instruction in schools was our local regional language. English was never the primary language for any of my subjects, so I never really had to learn it deeply. When I finished school and moved on to higher education, everything changed. Suddenly, all my subjects were in English. I remember my first day at college. It was overwhelming. Most of my classmates had studied in English medium schools, and they spoke English fluently. I, on the other hand, struggled even to read my textbooks, let alone understand them. It felt like I was thrown into the deep end without knowing how to swim. The struggle continued for months. Every time I sat down to study, I found myself lost. I couldn't follow the lectures, and reading assignments took me hours. My confidence was at an all-time low. But then something changed. A professor named Julie noticed my struggles. She took the time to talk to me, and that conversation became a turning point in my life. Professor Julie quickly realized that my foundation in English was weak. I didn't know basic grammar rules, and my vocabulary was extremely limited. She started by recommending a book on basic grammar. She told me to take my time with it, to understand the rules and to practice them regularly. Her next advice was simple but powerful. Learn 5 new words every day. She explained that these words could come from anywhere, my textbooks, conversations, or even billboards. The goal was to expand my vocabulary bit by bit. Reading was another area where I struggled a lot. Professor Julie advised me to read for at least 30 minutes every day, but she was very specific about what I should read. She told me to start with self-improvement books because they usually use simple language. She warned me against picking up books with complex English that would only discourage me. Listening was another key aspect of her plan. She suggested that I listen to English audio related to my field of interest, but it had to be in simple English. She believed that listening to English in a context I cared about would keep me motivated. Writing was another challenge for me, and she had a solution for that too. She asked me to write down everything that happened during my day before going to bed. At first, it was hard to find the right words, but over time, I got better at expressing myself in English. She also emphasized the importance of speaking. She encouraged me to speak in English with my college mates, even if I made mistakes. The idea was to practice as much as possible. She suggested finding a language partner, someone else who wanted to improve their English. That way, we could practice speaking together, correcting each other, and learning along the way. Thinking in English was another habit she wanted me to develop. She told me to try and think in English as much as possible, whether it was planning my day or just random thoughts. This helped me get more comfortable with the language. Lastly, she introduced me to a technique that really helped build my confidence: speaking in front of a mirror. She asked me to pick a topic or just talk about my day and then record myself. Listening to the recordings was tough at first because I was so critical of my own mistakes, but it showed me where I needed to improve. So I followed Professor Julie's advice. Every day, I read a self-improvement book for 30 minutes out loud, spoke with my language partner for at least 30 minutes, listened to English audio during my commute, and learned 5 new words to improve my vocabulary. I started thinking in English, practiced in front of the mirror, and wrote down my daily experiences before going to bed. The first few weeks were the hardest. There were days when I didn't want to do it, days when I was too tired or when I felt like giving up. But I pushed through, reminding myself why I started. After about 3 months, I began to notice a difference. My reading speed improved. I was more confident in conversations, and writing became less of a struggle. This practice helped me not just survive college but thrive. When I graduated, I landed a good job, and I know I couldn't have done it without the guidance of Professor Julie. I am forever grateful to her for helping me turn my weakness into strength. So that's my story, my struggle to learn English. I hope it inspires you to keep pushing forward no matter how tough the journey might seem.
Wow, George's journey is truly inspiring, isn't it? And before we wrap up, let's talk about the 3 motivational quotes he followed during his English learning journey. These are powerful reminders for anyone on the path to mastering a new skill.
Absolutely. The first quote George mentioned was, "Consistency is the key to mastery." This one really resonates with me. It's like when you're trying to build a new habit, like exercising or even learning a new language. You might not see results right away, but if you keep at it every single day, even for just a little bit, you'll start to notice progress. It's those daily efforts that add up over time.
That's so true. I remember when I was learning to play the guitar. At first, my fingers hurt, and it felt like I wasn't improving at all. But by practicing just 15 minutes every day, after a few months, I could actually play a few songs. Consistency really does make a difference.
The next quote George shared was, "Mistakes are proof that you are trying." This is such an important mindset to have, especially when you're learning something new like English. I remember when I first started learning Spanish, I was so afraid of making mistakes that I hardly spoke at all. But once I started embracing my errors and learning from them, that's when I really began to improve.
Exactly. Mistakes are part of the learning process. Think about how kids learn to walk. They fall down a lot, but each time they get up, they're a little bit stronger and a little bit more balanced. It's the same with language learning. Every mistake is a stepping stone to getting better.
And finally, George's third quote. "The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." This one is so motivating. It reminds us that no matter how big or overwhelming a goal might seem, the most important thing is to just start. Take that first step, and the rest will follow.
Yeah, it's like when you're staring at a huge stack of books you need to read for a course. It feels impossible, but once you open that first book and start reading page by page, you realize it's doable. George's journey is a perfect example. He started with just a few small steps, and those steps led him to where he is today.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening, remember these quotes as you continue your own journey with English or any other goal you're working toward. Be consistent. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. And just take that first step. You've got this. And the strategies George used are ones that anyone can apply. Whether you're just starting to learn English or looking to improve your skills, there's something in George's story for everyone.
Remember, you can practice reading as well with this episode. We've provided subtitles for everything we discussed today.
Thank you for joining us today. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Mastering English with Podcasts, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it.
And be sure to leave us a comment with your thoughts, questions, or even more tips on learning English. We love hearing from you and answering your questions in future episodes.
Until next time, keep practicing, stay motivated, and we'll see you in the next episode.